top of the hour. I was at the bottom of the hour. So anyway, sorry kids, here I am, and let's rock and roll. What a day, Jesus! What a torture chamber we are witnessing here. It is really quite the torment here when you look at everything's going on. And they continue to try to push higher. Look, at the end of the day, markets are markets. Price action dictates. Okay. But when we look at it again, you see, it's like, how could we possibly be higher? Okay. Well, and again, you know me, I'm a price action guy, so I'm not going to predict, what's going to happen next. But you look at it and you go, there's so many things happening that are so negative, between wages declining, supply chains, and yet here we are. So what does that tell you? Well, right now, the markets were short. Okay. But apparently markets want to continue to go higher. Okay. So look, I don't know. Listen, if I had the answers, I would love to give them to everybody. I don't know the exact answer. I can only follow the direction in which we travel. And right now we're traveling higher. Okay. It's kind of mixed, right? They were down big once again overnight. And we saw some major reversals again, but yet they reversed back. So we didn't get the identical play that we saw on Thursday. We got a head fake. If you look at gold, right? Gold got flushed for a little bit and looked like it was going to head south once again, and then came flying right back. Here, take a look at it in a shorter time frame because it's easier to see what I'm talking about. It looked like they were going to pound it. Okay. And then suddenly, I said, no, wait a second. We changed our mind. And up they went. Okay. You look at the bond market, very similar. Okay. It said, okay, we're going to do the same thing we did on Thursday. We're going to crush them. And of course, the bond markets had one little pullback and basically went straight up all day. So again, these are things that you look at. Okay. What's up? Okay. Dip buyers like Nick Saban. It's the Tour de France up the mountain. Look, whatever it is, it is. We don't dictate the terms of the market. We can only trade the market. Now, again, we are short, obviously, but it's interesting when you see out of nowhere these rallies just decide to appear. Okay. Now, is it short covering? I think that most of the short covering is probably gone, unless, now again, one of the things that does happen, what's up, guitar boy? One of the things that does happen is that, like last night that we were under pretty heavy pressure, but the volume was pretty pathetic. Okay. So, I can't really blame it that it was because they got short last night, but it could have been a little bit. We're not exactly accelerating, nor are we really violating upside levels. What's up there, Mr. Hecht? How are you?
Oh, how are you?
Well, I'm welcome into my torture chamber. It's been one hell of a market, and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason for many things that are happening, but they're happening, and you cannot dispute the absolute price at the end of the day. That we've all learned many, many times, correct?
And we're in a period here where, look, none of us really in our lifetime have experienced this kind of situation. This is the first major war in Europe since World War II.
Okay. Is it a major war, or is it a lot more lip service than war?
Well, the Russians invaded a country. That I don't think that's disputable, right?
Well, I don't think it's disputable, so to speak. But again, I don't know. I just got off of a Boomer Bust, right? So you remember what Bart used to run, right?
Yeah.
So I just got off. I was late coming in, but they just asked me, and I go, well, I don't know. BP is pulling out their Russian partnership, and I go, well, I'm not so sure that they're going to do that yet, but I'm certainly the political lip service that they're doing now makes them look like they're heroes. Okay. What do you say about that?
Well, it's $25 billion ticket.
Right. So do you think that Do you
And,
think
know,
that
are
they're
they
doing lip
just spreading
service
it?
to this, or are they really going to do it?
It depends how this goes. They
Okay.
could be back in next week if it's settled, and if it's not settled, they're standing on a tightrope here. I mean, ExxonMobil also has investments with, I think, Rosneft. Look, Russia's a big commodity producer.
Right. Well, they're
Yeah.
only the third largest wheat producer in the world. So,
Well, between them, by the way, between Ukraine and Russia,
uh-huh.
1/3 of the world's wheat exports.
Right.
That's 1/3.
I just said that.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the question is, if this is a war and it's going to be prolonged, are those wheat fields now minefields and battlefields? It's not going to be easy to farm if there's a war raging, and we're going to have massive shortages.
Right. And here we might have shortages because I don't know, all these farmers, we have to raise rates because they won't go back to producing oil. Again, as I've said many times before, farmers pay ridiculous interest rates to begin with. Okay. And they're going to be a lot higher. So are the small farmers going to be able to farm next year? Are they going to plant? Are they going to take the chance because they need such a high number, and you add in their input costs are ridiculous? And isn't Russia a big supplier of some of the components that go into fertilizer?
They're huge. I mean, first of all, ammonia is Ukraine is the leader in the world.
Okay.
Russia is massive in terms of I think it's nitrogen fertilizer.
Okay.
I know they do produce a lot of potash too. It's huge. Russia and Ukraine are huge. So, those prices are going to skyrocket if you can even get it.
Well, they won't let anything out, so they're not letting them
That's the
export. So
point.
how are we going to get
If
it?
you could even get it. Right.
Okay.
The availabilities are going to become the problem. Forget the prices. The availabilities are going to become the prices. And you're going to see sanctions and tit for tat retaliation, and it's going to make these markets very difficult. So you gotta become more of a short-term trader looking for opportunities here. You have to have discipline. You have to look at risk reward. You have to have a plan. You got to stick to it, and you got to ignore the news, watch the price action. But this is kind of unprecedented market action. Whether, as you believe, this is all lip service, or whether it's real, the markets are reacting, and we watch the price action. So we don't really know. I mean, listen, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We have no idea. Listen, they're making Zelensky into a hero, and that's the Western media, and the Russian media is making him into a Nazi. So there's a lot of things that are going on here, but the markets are all over the map, and that's what's important, and that's what we have to do. We have to approach them. Look, volatility creates lots of opportunities, but you got to be disciplined when you go after those opportunities. You got to have the right risk reward. You got to realize that volatility is a lot higher now than it was before. You got to put everything out of your mind, and you got to hope for the sake of the world that this is okay.
Hold on. It ain't a lot higher. I mean, it's the VIX is at 30. What's the big deal? I mean, it's not like it's exploding higher. I mean,
Well, it's got the potential to go higher.
Well, we always got the potential. I mean, we were at 90 in 08.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you look at a percentage basis, it drives you crazy because the numbers are bigger than they've ever been because of where the Dow is at. Okay. But basically, percentage wise, these are not unprecedented moves. We've seen this before. This is not
no, not in the stock market. You're talking stock market. I'm talking some other things. I mean, I'm looking at wheat. These are wild moves. I'm looking at
wheat, but we've seen, look, just because wheat's limit now is 75 and it's $9 versus it was, $3, right? Again, I agree. I mean, wheat down limit on Friday, up limit today. I agree with you. Again, I'm not.
Right. And you know what? Listen, Russia is very commodity centric. So, you're going to see the full effects of this whole stuff more in the commodities markets, I would say, than the stock markets. But hey, is the potential for a wild, period of incredible price swings in stocks possible? Yeah. Well, ask the people in Russia who have money in the Russian stock market, who are long the rubles and found their savings.
Does the ruble go to zero now that they raised interest rates at 20%?
Well, the Russians are buying domestic gold. That's the only choice they have now. Gold.
What are they buying it with? If they can't get,
well, they're buying it from their local mines. They're just taking it in. They're not buying it. They're just taking it in.
Right. Oh, no, again, I agree. I'm just again.
Right. They're not selling it. First of all, the London dealers who buy the Russian gold, which I did for years,
right,
they can't buy it anymore. So they got no choice. You know, they make a big pronouncement. We're going to buy all the domestic gold. It's bull. They can't sell it. The only place they can sell gold to is China, really. They're the only ones who have the money to pay for it. And what are they going to do? Put tons of gold on trains and ship them across Siberia to China?
Right. Exactly. So let me ask a question before I get too far away from the topic. Right now, Slavic Civil War, which can go global? Question mark.
I'm sorry. Let me see it. Question.
Right now, Slavic Civil War can go global? Question mark.
Right now, Slavic Civil War, which can go. So, interesting question.
No, I mean,
is there a potential? You know what the problem with these situations is? There's, if you're a student of history, you know that World War I started when the Archduke of Ferdinand was assassinated. Little things can set off huge things. You know, so anything is possible. Mistakes are possible. Can a Russian and U.S. plane get too close to each other? One shoots the other down. You know. These are scary moments in the world. You know, the most important event that really happened, I think, when we look backwards, was that meeting between Putin and Xi at the Winter Olympics, where they, agreed to $117 billion commodity shipments from Russia and money from China, which basically makes these sanctions toothless. That was number one. Number two, pledging support, emboldening China now to go into Taiwan, which is possible. You know, all of these things are very dangerous.
Well, I think China definitely goes into Taiwan sooner rather than later. Yeah, and I think that civil war, unrest is global right now because of what is going on. And, again, not just in Russia. Okay. This may be the fuse that ignites it all, right? But
I mean, it's the perfect time to take on the US's power because we're a very divided.
What power?
We're a very divided nation along political lines. And even this situation is not going to make this country come together. There's no way. So, this is a calculated risk that Putin took. I do believe he's a smart guy. I think he's a little crazy. I think he's gone a little crazy here.
I think he did this intentionally. I think he's a very bright guy, and I think he's driving this insane. And of course, you said last week, which I will repeat, the country that's loving this is China.
Of course. Okay?
And I think Saudi Arabia is loving it as well. So,
the Saudis are loving it, but they're looking over their shoulder at Iran. So the Saudis, this is a mixed blessing. Listen, they love it because of the oil price.
Right.
Iran is a close ally of Putin. And if push comes to shove, Putin's going to back the mullahs in Tehran before he's going to back the royal family. And because he would much rather have the mullahs in Tehran control the Middle Eastern oil in the long run, because that suits him better.
Right.
So, the problem is this is a big chess game. And,
right. And Biden's playing checkers.
Well, I was just going to say the guy we have is, he's playing hopscotch. He's not even on the field. He's not even on the board.
I said Saturday, Biden's playing checkers, Putin's playing chess, and China's playing advanced 5 moves ahead chess.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, tomorrow night, he's going to give the State of the Union address, probably at the most critical moment for this country in decades.
Okay. So do you have any bitches this week, sir?
Not really. I mean, I'm just, to tell you the truth, I'm kind of disheartened about how this whole thing has unfolded. I feel bad for these people in Ukraine because, quite frankly, with bombs dropping on their head, the average person in Ukraine is no different than you and me and everyone out there.
Right.
They live their life. They want to live their life. They want to have a good life. They want to have family. They want to be healthy. And all of a sudden, you wake up one day and you got bombs dropping. It's a horrible situation.
Sounds like Israel.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Anyway.
My heart goes out to them when they're under attack. My heart goes out to anyone who's under attack.
Of course.
This is a tragedy. It's a human tragedy. A lot of people are going to lose their lives. There's no question about it. And we always say ignore the news. And now you have to understand that what you're being fed is what they want you to hear here, what the Russian government wants them to hear there, that everything has a motive. And by the way, you were on Boom and Bust. Don't be surprised if they don't take that channel off the air.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've already taken down all their YouTube posts. So
right. I'm sure they're going to take them all. And you know what else I think they're going to do? I think that now there's going to be a move to basically cancel the contracts of Russian athletes in the United States who are still citizens of Russia. Not just because they have Russian backgrounds, but if you're a citizen of Russia, I was reading something before about Ovechkin, and Dominic Hasek took off on him and said, hey, they should cancel all they got. There's going to be a lot of fallout from this whole thing.
I agree. So the very important question, which I was asked, and I will tell you what my answer was, but I'm going to ask it to you first. Okay.
Yeah.
So oil is near $100 a barrel. And of course, you and I both said this when it was 35, it was going to 100.
Right.
And I say that, and I think you agree that it can go higher to all-time record highs. Okay. Yeah. If they don't change something. And so the question was, is the Russian invasion, whatever, is that causing oil prices to go higher? And your answer is?
No, it's U.S. energy policy.
Well,
no, absolutely not. Oil, okay, listen, I would say the Russian invasion, $5 premium. That's it. I think that, if Biden has a brain in his head, he'll open up the Keystone. He'll let the oil flow. He'll start fracking again. We'll start sending massive ships filled with natural LNG to Europe so they could get off their addiction to Russian gas. And if that's really the problem, that's what it is. The bottom line is he's taking advantage of this, okay? But oil, it's not like oil went from 40 to 100. We were already heading here last year. And by the way, we said in November 2020, after the election and after it appeared that Biden had won, that oil is going to explode and it's going to go to 100. And by the way, where was it? $35 a barrel?
That's right. And
yes, it's here now. It has nothing to do with Russia. Now, I will say this. The next $50 could have a lot to do with Russia, because if Russia comes and embargoes oil, that's a different story. But right now, I don't say $5, maybe $5.
Well, my answer.
What was your answer?
My answer was that it's the crappy energy policy that we have, and they could solve it in 5 minutes. And maybe there's a couple of bucks of fear premium being priced in. But considering that we could be the largest producer in the world, it has very little to do. We could solve the problem in 5 minutes.
Right. So same answer. Right?
Same answer.
Same answer. Look, Bubba, we don't agree on everything, but we have been preaching this for, better part of a year and a half.
All right.
It's amazing, doesn't it? Can I
No,
ask
you go ahead.
Here's a question for you. Does it feel like a lot longer than a year and a month since Biden's been president?
It feels like a lifetime.
Right.
And I'm serious. I mean, again, I look, you and I both sat here after the election and we said, we don't like him, but we will support it and hope that he does a good job. Right?
Well, I mean, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode of Opposite George.
Yep.
Where if he did everything opposite to what his impulses have told him to do, we would be in great shape.
The real question is, are they his impulses, though?
I'm just saying, the administration.
I'm with you.
Right. He is the administration. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is ugly. Look, we have, things are moving at lightning speed. And the election for the midterms is months away. I mean, we're 6 months away. What is it, February? And it's November, 9 months away. You know how much the world can change? Look at how much the world changed in the last year and a half. You know how much it could continue to change now that it's accelerating? I mean, by the time the midterms occur, you could have Chinese troops in Taiwan. You could have Russia going into Baltic states. You could have a lot of stuff that's, a disaster.
And what makes it really sad out of everything you just said, okay, is that to me, I'm not saying the invasion is orchestrated, but a lot of things that are going on are being orchestrated to create that type of environment to begin with, because the globalism and all the other crap is really starting to play. And this is just another way.
Well, globalism, you see, what they don't understand is that globalism divides the world. So what globalism constitutes is a pact between Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, and some other, smaller countries on that side, and the US, Europe, Canada, Australia, Japan, and some other smaller countries. And then you have nuclear power versus nuclear power, and mutually assured destruction.
No winner. War games, tic-tac-toe. Hey,
mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, right, of course. Let's catch up on some of these things. Unfortunately, I feel the recession is coming by the fourth quarter of early 2023. How about we're in a recession now?
We're in stagflation now. There's no question about it.
I mean, how about recession now? You got lower pay. I don't care what they tell you how much your increase was. Your increase is nowhere near keeping up with the cost of goods that you got to buy.
That's right. And by the way, this Russian thing is going to, I don't care what the Fed does. They can raise interest rates by 8% now. This is going to cause shortages. This is going to keep inflation going.
Oh, yeah, without question. And then how I can all go, can go forever. Okay, until it doesn't go. Right now, I would say the next target would be to close over 100. It's already traded over 100, but it can go to all-time new highs. There's no question about it. In the last,
what are you talking about now? Oil?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, oil can go, right. You don't pick tops or bottoms in markets. They go to irrational, illogical, and unreasonable levels.
What kind of business are you in, Luigi? And then last one, and then before we get into looking at some of our stuff, will the U.S. boycott China? No, I don't. Listen, you know what? There may be sanctions, there may be all kinds of stuff, but at the end of the day, the United States, the big power of the United States showed their true colors when Hong Kong got, reversed from the deal that was made, okay, and became totally communist. And what happened? Where were all the athletes and the movie stars? Okay,
here's
where was all the big money?
Here's my prediction on that. My prediction is that this will end. This Russian thing will end, and China will come out as the great negotiator,
peacemaker,
calm the world, the great peacemaker that calmed the world. That's what my prediction is, because we have basically we handed oil to the Russians on a silver platter, and we handed the leading the baton out east to China. That's my prediction.
It's a
horrible prediction, but that's my prediction.
I don't doubt it. It would not surprise me in the least. Okay. So as we take a look at the actual effect on markets, of course, the dollar, look, the dollar is still, listen, we tell you every week, it's not that big a deal one with the other. I mean, but the dollars are, we're short dollars. Okay. Excuse me. We're long dollars. Excuse me. So, at the end of the day, okay, we'll see where it brings us. Again, do I have the answer? No, I don't have the answer, but I know that the fiat currency system itself
is broken.
The fiat currency, it's a criminal institution. Okay,
and it's broken because the dollar index is just the euro, and the euro is under pressure, and both are under pressure. So the dollar index, we look at it, but it's really so useless.
Right. And right now you've got, 97.50 resistance, you've got 96.50 support. Okay, pretty basic. Just kind of crawling back up again. And the euro currency, which you just mentioned, look, it popped this morning but still, last night it was down a full penny, which doesn't sound like a lot. But if you're trading a futures contract, that's $1,250.
And Europe is ground zero, against Russia. So this is, you see what the ruble does. Russian victories, the euro is going to tank.
Yes.
Bubba will get his level at parity.
88 cents. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, you look for parity first.
Right. Well,
you go to $1 first.
You're right.
Yeah.
111.50. Okay. Which is right where we're at, about where we are. 112.50. Look, we're short, and certainly I would look to be a seller. Okay. And look, at the end of the day, just look at the pattern. Okay. Now, the only thing I can tell you is that the steepness of the recent sell-off could see a little bit of a bounce to about 112.50 is what I would see. Okay. But we're going lower. Okay. There's no question that there's issues here. There's no question that they're weak. Okay. So remember another sign for the opposite. Ukraine is weak. Anyways, 111.50, 112.50, but certainly, again, parity is on its way. Now, I think what asset class you think was the biggest benefactor of all this mess? What's your opinion? Just out of curiosity.
The U.S. bond market.
And second, all right, second. Okay.
I mean,
how about Bitcoin?
Yeah, yes, I agree.
I mean, think about this, right?
But it's it's also so overdue for a move higher. So
right. It was looking for a reason to go. And last night it was down like 2,000.
Right.
And suddenly it closes up over 2,000. Again, that's not that big of a move in the big perspective of cryptocurrency world. But at the end of the day, I was out to dinner last night and I was talking to somebody. And he goes, "What do you think about Bitcoin?" I said, "Well, listen, if they can't carry their money out if they try to get out.
Right. There's
only one way you can get your money out. If you're an oligarch in Russia and you're trying to get out, you can't carry stacks of cash or stacks of rubles or suitcases full of gold. The only way you can get it out is the flash drive, right?"
That is, yes, and that is Putin's potential downfall, because as much as they love Putin, they love their money more, and their yachts and their apartments and their ability to travel. And I think that's what this whole policy is geared towards.
Yeah. So
squeezing them.
Okay. Well, you're telling me Bitcoin's up, and it could be. Look, I'm just looking at the futures close here, but I'm certainly no doubt that you're right if you're telling me that it's up, more. I can look at it right now. Okay. It is up right now. 43.9. So what the board close here? Yeah, you're right. 100%. Again, I don't disagree, because that does trade 24/7. In the meantime, it does appear that 38,000 or 37.8, somewhere in here is the real support. And it looks like the next resistance is going to be 44,000. Okay.
And I think we go through it like a hot knife goes through butter.
I would not disagree with that whatsoever. Okay. I would not disagree with that whatsoever.
I think so.
Right. Okay.
And I think that gold and Bitcoin could rally together.
And that was something we were talking about earlier, and I'll explain. I'll tell it again when we get there. In the meantime, 38,000, 44,000, the bonds. Okay, well, look at this. Now, one thing you got to take into consideration also here is let me just switch this over to my other charts for a moment. Okay, because you had a bond roll. Okay?
Right, exactly. March to June.
Right. So you're trading a little bit different. There was a little bit of a gap anyways. Okay, so let's look at the actual June bond itself, okay, which is what I had. Actually, I do have the June bond up here. Okay, right. So this is the June bond. So we had a little bit of a bounce. Not a shock that you're going to get a bounce.
Listen, the market was very short going into the interest rate hikes. And as we always say, that when there is geopolitical turmoil, or a surprise, that people run to the U.S. Treasury bond futures. So are you shocked? No, not at all.
Not in the least. And of course, that we talk about this often, but
I do think that eventually this is, somewhere we might be long it now, but somewhere this will be a raging sale, because they have to raise interest.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You're 1,000% right. Okay. This is, and the funny thing is, which goes back to my theory on oil, if they would just open up the wells, then they could open. They could raise interest rates with no problem.
I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying. Look, we're at 157. We could go to 164 in the bond. There's no rules here. if we get some crazy news the next day, or all of a sudden Zelensky disappears, or markets panic, the Russians take over, they start flying their flags. The rhetoric goes up. The bonds could rally, they could rally, but eventually they will be a big sale.
Right, 100%. Okay.
Because, by the way, the stronger Russia is, and the more they squeeze us on commodities, and the higher commodity prices go, the more the Fed's going to have to. The Fed is in the worst potential situation it has ever been in. Like you said last year, they had so many opportunities to raise interest rates over the last year, and they didn't take one of them. And they came up with a million excuses why, transitory, this and that, all this bull. The bottom line is they really missed the boat, and now they got to deal with a geopolitical nightmare, and they're in trouble.
Recession. We're in a recession now, Jay. I'm telling you, this is a recession.
This is stagflation, no question.
They will not identify it as a recession yet. 10 years from now, they'll tell you this was a recession.
You can never identify it with the midterm elections coming up. That's basically surrendering.
Okay. And Biden asked Bitcoin to freeze Russian accounts. Right. Bitcoin, the free market of Bitcoin, that is why Bitcoin, out of all things, it's not only the currency of the youth who understand all that computer crap, but it is also the currency of the libertarian who understands.
Hold on. What do you mean could you clarify that? He asked Bitcoin to freeze Russian accounts? Bitcoin is not a person. Who did he ask? One of the exchanges?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Like Coinbase or whatever?
Yeah, I'm reading a comment, but yeah, probably.
Right.
All of the exchanges, that traded, they probably asked if they would freeze the assets, and they said, no, screw you.
Yeah, believe me, any Russian oligarch knows enough and has a computer wallet that, they can't do anything with that.
Right.
The only thing that they can do is they can hack it.
Right. Well, I agree with you.
That they can do.
So in the meantime, bonds right now, look at 158, I would sell it I might sell it, as we used to say on the trading floor, I'd sell it to my hands bleed. Okay. And they might bleed, they might get bloody, but I think
they might bleed. It's possible that they'll get very bloody, but eventually you'll be right.
Well, again,
will you have the staying power? Will you be turning green at 162 or 164? You'll be out long before.
I will be out long before that, but
right, of course.
A shot there.
Because you're taking a shot and you're going in with a plan and you know where you're going to get out.
Right, exactly.
Right, exactly.
Anyways, Connie, 155 to 158. Okay. Gold. Now, interesting enough, I was commenting earlier before you got here. I go, this almost looked like it was going to be a replay of Thursday. Okay. Gold was spiking to the moon. Okay. And then it turned around and it actually went negative. Okay. Not negative price wise, but the price was so low, it was back below 1900.
Right.
Magically, it turned around.
Well, you said last week that you could see 1900 being the new pivot point, and that's, you know what? That's what seems like it's developing here. So we jacked up $100. Markets don't move in straight lines; they never do. But this was a breakout from a one-year wedge pattern. We're holding at 1900. I do think we attacked the all-time high, but gold does not. Gold is not the kind of commodity that it's not wheat,
Connie.
It's not wheat. It's not lumber. It's there's a lot of things going on in the gold market here. And, the bottom line is, hey, gold, I look at gold as a commentary on the dollar.
Right. And Keith, that's what we said, that they can't, that's what that's why we believe that the Bitcoin rallied so much more today and came down from the depths for that reason. Okay. In the meantime, gold, look at 1900 to 1940. Okay. And again, look at the overall trend though. Let's go back to what we talked about. This kind of move, did I expect it to break in one day? No, I did not. Like what happened. But if you look at the overall uptrend, it continues to hold that about 45-degree angle of a trend, and it continues to work its way higher.
Which is good. And by the way, you didn't expect that one-day move. But then again, listen, and I agreed with you last week, we didn't expect Putin to march into Ukraine. So that was the reaction that took it up to 1975, roughly. And hey, it came back down. To say it reversed, it came down that day. Like you said, it's been hugging 1900. but it's very constructive price action.
1975 was a very good year. Anyways.
Yes, it was.
And then, so gold is 19 to 1940, and silver almost the same, right? Silver did the same thing,
Right.
and fell apart. But again, if we watch it, here's our original trend line right here. So certainly, I would not be surprised to see silver maybe consolidate a little bit here around the 24 and a half, 24 to 25. Okay. And then take off. I mean, in the meantime, as I look at it, it's 24 to 25. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. And you know what? I don't think these things have anything to do with Russia. I think that these things have been consolidating and digesting their moves to highs in 2020 for gold and early 2021 for silver, and we broke out of wedge patterns. And, the path of least resistance is now higher.
As you said a long time ago, you said that the ranges were so tight, okay, that we would expect to see at some point an eventual breakout because of the tight ranges that they had traded in the last year and a half or so.
Right. And we agreed, we always agreed that we thought that the break would come to the upside. But, hey, during that pattern, anything is possible.
Exactly.
But we did get it to the upside. And, right now, the angle of the chart movement is very constructive, highly constructive.
100%. And of course, platinum.
All our systems along this stuff.
Right. And platinum
dog
suddenly became, right. But I mean, it was well over 1100 and it looked like it was up this morning. And of course, it still closed lower. Look, 1040 looks to be some support. 1100 is obviously resistance. And this is just kind of consolidating, and it looks like crap. It's the worst.
The real PGM that's reacting to this is palladium.
What is palladium? That's what I always come back to and say. What is
palladium? Is 2,500 roughly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it got up to 2,700.
Like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, palladium and rhodium too, which is hovering around 20,000 an ounce. So those are the ones that are, really Russian centric. And those are the ones that are going to feel it. Those are the wheat of the precious metals.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, platinum 1040 to 1100. Obviously, we don't trade it.
I love it, but I love to hate it. How's that?
Listen, no kidding. It's, it's a value, but they keep punishing you to holding it. So, I mean, again, we don't trade anymore because it's not liquid enough for us to trade, but 1040 to 1100. And copper, it'll pop. But again, copper is in, I don't know. I can't even describe.
Copper is the stock market, Bubba. Copper is, it's industrial. It's going to move with stocks. If the stocks trash, copper will come down. But eventually copper is going up because it's the green new metal. It's the green metal.
It's amazing the miserable pattern it's in. And
it's an harrowing pattern. It's going to move. It's going to move big. And you know what? It could spike down and then spike up. But copper is one I really like. But right now, I'm on the sidelines in copper.
Yeah, it's 446 or 445, basically to 459, which is obviously extremely tight.
Bubba, while we're on this base metal, what's Albemarle? That's what, lithium? Is that lithium?
Which one?
Albemarle. Someone's asking.
Yeah, I think so.
Albemarle, yeah, I mean, the lithium price has gone through the roof, and Albemarle is a huge producer. But, I haven't done any. I wonder how much lithium comes out of Russia. I have to do some research on that because I don't watch it all the time because it doesn't trade in the futures exchange and it's very thin and illiquid. But listen, I like all these commodities. I think lithium is one that, it's a battery metal. It's
I know what it is. This is not the time to get a stock symbol, big boy.
Right.
Okay. So I'll get to them when I get to them later. Okay. You know the rules. Okay.
I like that. That's a good comment. That's funny.
Okay. So anyways, copper, I gave you corn. Well, down limit, down big, up big, but basically look at what happened. It came right down to a major support level around 660. And here we are back at 690 once again. Okay. So
that thing is going to be volatile and it's going to trade at a new all-time high this year.
850.
It's trading a new all-time high this year.
$90, $9, $10. Who knows where it's going?
Yeah, I know, but I do think we're going above the.
I agree with you 100%. Listen, I'm on record on TV saying that I think it's going higher to an all-time new high. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm on record as saying that right now, to trade these things to try to day trade them, you have to be in an insane asylum.
Yeah, it's a wild thing.
Anyways, for those who care, 670, $7 is obviously the key resistance right now. 670 is $7. Okay. And soybeans, look,
that could be too narrow a range almost,
well, it is really, but again, that's what we're looking for because you see wild trades. Soybeans got to 1770 before
25 cents below the all-time high.
I know. I think there's a good chance that depending on what goes on in the world, but I think there's a good chance that soybeans could be out of the teens, and it's not going to be down to 12 either.
Right. We said that a couple of weeks ago.
I'm saying it again. I'm reiterating because when you look at this pattern, look at the major support was right where it came down to, and bang, it popped right back up again. Look.
I mean, what's today's date? It's February 28th, right? Yep. We're coming into the season of uncertainty, and look what's going on in these markets.
And
this is wild stuff.
If you remember, we talked about on these trend lines and how the best trends are at about 45 degrees. Well, we had the spike off of it, consolidated, had a little bit of a spike. Oh, we came right back down to where we should come down to anyways. Okay.
Right.
So
and you know what? On all these charts, if you erase the craziness on February 24th, everything looks very calm.
Right. And if you just look at this and say, so would it be surprising if it consolidated for a couple of weeks? No.
No, not at all.
Because that would be it. That would bring it right back on the line for the next big rally. Okay. In the meantime, 1675 is going to be some resistance. Okay. $16 is the support. Yes, very narrow, unbelievably narrow, especially in a product like this. But right now, that's the numbers. I mean, I can't change what we're looking at right in front of us. Okay. And wheat, another animal altogether. I mean, this down limit, up limit, and here we are, churning, sitting here. Okay. And by the way, we're long corn, long soybeans, and we are short wheat as of this morning. Okay. And of course, somebody asked me, do you like that trade? I said, not really. I said, but I'm not going to change what I do, which is following the rules. Am I thrilled? No. Okay. But fortunately, we did get to sell it up much higher, than into the hole. But listen, I think these commodities and these grain markets have a chance to go dramatically higher, but I'm not going to bend the rules nor inflect my opinion when I give you the trades that are created. That would be me being what would be the word? Right. A hypocrite.
Right.
And I got the Hippocratic oath.
And with wheat, one positive sign out of Ukraine now, and wheat goes down $1 a bushel, like in a heartbeat. This thing is being propped up now, and it's very. Listen, I think on our first call together, on our first Monday night call, we talked a lot about the fact that wheat is the most political commodity in the world, and it's just proving that.
Agreed.
It's just proving that.
And it would be no surprise to me, okay, if wheat churned between 860 and 940, back and forth as it continues to try to maintain or hold this trend. And my guess is, we're not going to reverse tonight, okay, but my guess is that there's a greater likelihood of a reversal back to the upside than there is a big sell-off to the downside.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, I don't lie. I tell you what I think.
Yeah,
we're short, but I'm not thrilled. And again, somebody asked me, and I said, hey, you have to do what you got to do, but I have to follow the rules because that's what my people do, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But if you gave me my choice and I wasn't following rules, I might hold it. I mean, again, I'm happy.
Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. They grow a lot of wheat.
Let them eat cake.
She lost her head when she said that.
Right. In the meantime, I hope you held them. But if you did the right thing, that's okay too. But I gave you the best advice I could under the circumstances. Okay. In the meantime, 860 to 940. And of course, cattle looks weak. And again, this is what I was worried about. Okay. In my opinion, I have no factual evidence other than being a grocery store shopper, other than being involved heavily in the farming industry. Okay. But my concern on RFD TV for the last month or 6 weeks was this high inflation, high gas prices, at some point is going to have an effect on the price of beef, because they are not going to keep running in because they can't afford it. And when they have to decide to budget, one of the first things they're going to cut is they're going to switch to the other protein. Any thought to that, sir?
No, listen, corn went up a lot today and the feeders went down a lot today, but the live cattle just edged a little bit lower.
Right.
So, the feeders are really, listen, they have to eat. And, the feed prices are going through the roof, and that's a problem. And also, look, you go out to a restaurant, the steak is damn expensive and the pork chops are not that expensive and people are going for the pork.
Well, when you're buying a steak, you get to buy you get a mortgage too.
Right.
In the meantime, this looks pretty bad. We're short. Okay. And fat cattle, which is what Andy has mentioned, live cattle. Again, this is short as well. Again, to me, yes, it was only down a pimple. It was down much more today. It did make a little bit of rally late, but this looks awful. And again, I believe that it's coming because of the high inflation. People are having to make decisions to their budget. And this is one of the things that they're going to cut, because there's certainly, if you want protein in your diet from meat, there's other proteins that are less expensive right now.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you have a choice of eating chicken and filling up your gas tank, or eating a steak and taking your bicycle, you're gonna have the chicken.
Exactly. Okay. So we're short fat cattle, and of course, we reversed hogs to short today as well. Okay. And an interesting, pretty ugly pattern, because they were higher this morning. In fact, when I was on RFD, but again, they look pretty bad. It looks like they kind of peaked at 112. But let's remember one thing about these prices. These are very high prices under any circumstances, are they not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
we're coming into a time of the year where they're not so, but they've been high through the whole winter.
Right. Well, they were high in December. We commented on in December.
We were talking about 80-cent pork at this time of the year is ridiculous.
We are short, LE, or that's live cattle. But again, hogs, okay, again, they're pretty priced pretty nicely anyways from a producer standpoint. And again, we commented back in December how high, that was the highest December close I can remember. Okay. And, we've seen, what was the high? 138? Was that the PED variance?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, again, at 112, 103, not so bad, not great. Obviously, we'd like to see higher prices for our producers, but again, now you come back into some of the other problems, okay, with the supply chain and getting supply, the whole deal. In the meantime, they're down. We're in a downtrend right now, but they still look, that's going to be, to me, the alternative of where people are going to turn if they need to switch their proteins that are chicken. So, again, that's something we look at in crude oil. After last week's push over 100, okay, and collapse, and then try to test under 90, and now here we are back. We got the 99 today. And I think, what did Brent go today? 105 today?
Yeah, it was up. Well, today's a funky day in Brent because, we rolled from April to May.
Okay.
End of the month. So there's a lot of funkiness going on there. But yeah, we didn't get up to the same level we got up to on February 24th, but $100. And then we settled at around 98 on the new May contract because of the backwardation.
Right.
And April crude, look, this is U.S. energy policy, 100%. 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
So 90.
Wait until they start. Wait till wholesale gasoline goes to $3, and we're close. Where do we close today on the April? We closed at $2.9325. Okay, so when wholesale gas goes to 93, that's like $485 at the pump.
I paid
and in California $6.50. Huh?
I paid I think $3.59 actually at Costco yesterday.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's higher today.
I'm sure it is. In the meantime, big range, 90 to 100. Okay. And how can I make that? Well, look at the last 3 days. Look at the intraday ranges, $4, $5, $6 a day now. Okay. Natural gas. Okay. And of course, nat gas is, been this crazy, wild, animal of a trade. Okay, which we're short, and look what it's doing. Okay, suddenly it went from going straight up to straight down to straight sideways. Okay.
Well, coming into the end of the withdrawal season, which is this month, Stockpiles are over 10% below the 5-year average. There's a big push to ship US LNG to Europe.
Do we have any?
Well, it's all been sold to Asia.
But is there any available, or is it still on the ground?
No, it's still on the ground. They got a frack.
Yeah,
That
goes back to your original comment, the energy policy, right?
Right. It's all about energy policy. He's got to pivot. He's got no choice. And
Sure.
AOC can kick and scream, but you put her when she gets upset.
I'm sorry,
put her in a room with the Lion King and give her some chocolate milk.
My apologies, John. We are long. My bad. I said long. I meant long, and then I said short. But we're long. My apologies.
Do you like that idea, Bubba?
Yes, I love the idea.
Lion King and a little chocolate milk, hot cocoa.
I
they'll
also like the idea for getting a cork for every cow's ass. But anyway, in the meantime, basically you get no range, 440 to 480. Cocoa,
but right, no range. But look at the price.
Right.
That tells you everything.
$1.70. What was it? $1.74, $1.47.
$1.43.
Well, okay, it's close. Cocoa, look, it peaked. We were long going up. We've been short coming down, and at the end of the day,
it's got a hold of 24,
24 and a quarter, right?
Yeah, 24 and a quarter.
Yeah, that's what you said. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. I mean, it doesn't look very good right now, but of course, in the soft, thinly traded commodities, they could reverse at any moment. They're extremely wild. They're controlled and run by the country club of the cocoa traders. Okay, so right now they look pretty awful. Certainly,
and you know what? They could have a big physical pricing coming up with the Ivory Coast, so they're going to push the price down. So they can price it, and then they'll let it fly.
Right, and that's another thing. Explain that, will you please? The pricing.
So what happens is that all the big chocolate companies. So you're talking about Mondelez, Hershey's, Barry Callebaut, Cadbury, all these big companies. They all buy their cocoa from the same place, and that's the Ivory Coast in Ghana. So they price it based on these pricing formulas that are very often tied to the futures market. And when the pricing periods come up, they're
priced at certain periods. So they try to manipulate price to make sure they get the lowest price to buy at the wholesale.
And we don't know, it's very secretive where the pricing pressure points are and the dates and stuff, but you can almost see it after the fact in the futures market. And I would say we're probably in a pricing period now.
I would agree with that. Again, I'm in 100% agreement with that because again, we've seen it, we've talked about it, and it happens a lot in many of these industries. Okay, that are they benchmark a price at a certain point in time every year or whatever it is, or a couple times a year. And this is probably the marking period.
Right, but then they're going to let it zoom because then they're going to sell to their customers,
right?
On based on the price, and they're going to let it go up. So they're going to get the best of both worlds.
I agree with you. Right? Again, you have no argument from me there. In the meantime, 26 is resistance, and Andy's big target is 24 and a quarter. Right. Certainly, it wouldn't be surprising.
I don't think we get
all around 25.
I think we'll probably stop before then, and we'll make another higher low.
Okay, it could be. And cotton, which we reversed to short today, it's a hell of a move. Okay, and you've seen over the last few weeks, it started to make lower highs, and we're starting to see a little bit of pressure to the downside. I think the next real key level in cotton is going to be 116, which was a number they put in last week, and below there is probably 114. And if they continue to violate, you could see some pretty heavy selling here. But right now, we'll see. Again, I know Andy likes the commodity space. I know that there's a lot of things going on. They could be more bullish than bearish for these things. So we'll see. Again, in the meantime, it is where it is. And right now we're short, and it looks like it should be short.
But cotton, right. And I agree with that. And cotton's come a long way. And I like the ones that haven't come a long way. And quite frankly, the argument on cotton is pretty much the same as the argument on cattle and steaks. Because, if people are feeling economic pressure, they're not going to buy that new dress or that new pair of jeans. They're going to.
That's right. I'm not buying new jeans right now. There you go.
They're going to make do with what they have. And that's going to
exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Thank God I bought my turtlenecks a long time ago. Okay. Anyways, 116 to 120. Okay. Sugar, which we are still short. And of course, look, what'd you say, 1750 last week?
Yeah, 1750-ish.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's right. We're about
I
where we are.
1740, I think is.
I think you're right. That's what you did say. 1740. Look, it's going down. We've been short, and again, it's another thinly traded commodity. Okay, that at some point we'll find. But what was the all time low in sugar? And your boss said that why would I buy something I can get for free in the restaurant?
2.45 cents.
Yeah. So now why with
and the high? By the way, the high was 66 cents.
So let me ask you this question: with the oil having the problem that it is, I mean, flying, and sugar in some parts of the world being a part of the component of oil, why is sugar so weak in your opinion?
Well, it's a question of it's not really that weak. It was 9 cents in March 2020. It's correcting. Right. It's kind of doing what gold did. I think that we're closer to a bottom than a top in sugar. Okay. And, it's Brazil and the crop is probably okay. So, they probably have enough sugar to make their ethanol. And that's what I think is going on here.
Okay.
And, listen, and Brazil is not under so much pressure because, Bolsonaro is making very nice with Mr. Putin.
And then that takes us to OJ, another Brazilian crop.
And that took off.
And what was the reasoning behind this take?
I think it's just been under pressure, and it snapped higher. That's what I think. I think
market short
pushing, and it moved.
A thin market short squeeze. What would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So again, 144 should be the upper level of this thing here. To me, it's probably, again, you can say it's a big range, but again, 10 cents is not that big a range.
No, it'll run. I think this feels like it'll run out of steam. Oh, who knows? It's crazy.
Only the shadow knows. And of course, coffee, and we're short OJ, we're short coffee. Okay. And coffee has now come all the way back, not all the way down to 232. Okay. But again, does that mean, that they're never going to go higher again? No. I mean, again, this is, after you had a dramatic move from $1.80. Okay.
Right. Coffee has room to correct on a really long-term chart to 176. That's where it broke out.
There, and there's his words right there. Okay. There you go. Right. There it is. Okay. Again, this is, if you look at the big picture, okay, it looks pretty good still.
Okay. Right. The big picture. But no reason not to be short here because there's a lot of room between 230, 290, and 176. And this could get ugly for a while.
That's like $20,000. Yeah, no, 100%.
It's a lot of room.
100%. And of course, lumber. Well, we don't trade it, but it went from going straight down limit to straight up limit to now it's in consolidation.
It's doing nothing. And the nearby contract's still around over 1,300, 1,336.70. That's the March. This is a wild market. It's a benchmark. And by the way, one of the biggest timber producers in the world is Russia. Just adding to the picture here.
Right. And we are so short bonds, which I said when we went through, but yes, we're short bonds. So, I mean, we don't trade this. This is a benchmark, but is this coming into season now as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to start. Contractors and construction companies are buying wood because they're building houses now.
Right. That's what I'm again. That's
yeah. I mean,
seasonality is more bullish now as well.
It tends to peak in May, but there's no rules this year. Forget seasonality. I wrote an article today on TradingView for us, and basically said that seasonality, it's all wonderful. This is what you should look for, but forget it all this year because this is no ordinary year.
Right. Okay. So, in the meantime, any last minute thoughts on the pregame side of the call?
Yeah, be careful, folks. Just be careful. Be careful. Risk reward. Have a plan. Stick to the plan. Don't let the position, the trade become an investment because it goes against you. Critical in this market. Critical.
And that's what we say all the time. You got to be careful, especially in these thinner, turbulent times. Okay. Again, you're seeing thinner markets as well, which leads to even bigger moves. Okay. And all the circuit breakers in the world, all the crap in the world isn't going to slow some of these moves that are going to happen. And if you put yourself in a bad position, it's going to hurt you badly.
And by the way, what happens when the you-know-what really hits the fan. What do?
What do, they make it worse.
They close the market, just like they did in Russia today. So you can't get yourself stuck.
They make it worse, which is common for these putzes. They always do.
Armor. When you pretend you're going into battle when you're trading now, discipline. You must have discipline.
They are clueless as the things on a bull, and that's the way it goes, and that's what they do. And unfortunately,
that's not changing.
They do what they do, and look, at the end of the day, okay, you got to be very careful. Okay, I tell you, if you're actively trading, and if you were with me this morning when we were day trading live, I said, look, we're going to be more careful. We're going to take profits faster. Even if it's wrong, we're going to take them faster, because there's no reason to get ripped on a mistake, because it'll force you to make a bad decision later. It's easier to take the money and worry about it later. Okay. So in the meantime, let me stop this recording and we will get part 2 on the roll here. So let me stop. Yeah. Hello, darling. Okay. And then we're going to go to our normal Monday call, and we're going to record to the cloud. Yep. And what's up? And welcome aboard those just tuning in. It is obviously the Monday night call, and pretty crazy day on the street. Lots of stuff going on, and a lot of the guys in the chat room were saying, "What the hell's going on?" I said, "Well, basically, we're in a torture chamber." I mean, right now, as an active trader, it can be very lucrative, but it is extremely frustrating to watch these wild swings back and forth. It looked like late in the day we're going to we're going to really sell off late, and suddenly they change their minds. Oh, well, we're going to rally them. And this is a very challenging market. You're welcome, sir. This is a very challenging market. Okay, and remember, challenge makes you better if you make sure that you follow the rules and you stay disciplined to what you're doing. Okay, that's all I can tell you. Okay, but when you look at this, it is extremely frustrating. Okay, because they make these wild moves out of nowhere. Okay, and as always, we thank our veterans and our public servants, because God, we're going to need them now, Andy.
Oh yeah,
it's getting worse. It's really, God bless you guys. Thank you. As always, we can't thank you enough. I mean, everywhere there's so much stuff going on between the things here and Russia, everywhere. God bless. Thank God we got people that really care, that were willing to risk their lives for our freedoms, which, that's another story, but thank you. And we appreciate you. Honest. Okay. And, so as I always give you what I'm thinking about, and, OPEC likely to stand by plans to gradually increase production. Listen, Biden can write all the letters he wants. He can make all the requests he wants. They are not going to help him. Okay. They're going to increase production when, Andy? Pretty soon here.
Oh, the U.S.?
No, the Saudi, because of course we're going into demand season, so they're going to get higher prices.
No, they're going to increase the production when the price is 125.
Right.
Right.
I mean, we're going right into when does the peak season start? Is that Memorial Day or before Memorial Day?
Oh, it starts in the spring. Once it gets warm out, people tend to drive more. They drive more, they use more gasoline.
Okay. And question all of it. The current Western propaganda for Ukraine is epic in scale. Look, I don't know the answer. I don't know when I told you last week, and I said that I had sources, and I do, and my sources tell me that they're laughing still there. They're not happy that there's an invasion, but they're laughing and that they're making a much bigger deal out of this than is really going on. Again, I don't know. I have no facts. Okay. But we know, especially coming into an election cycle, there is a lot more propaganda. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So again, at the end of the day, I don't know. Nobody knows for sure. But what we do know is that this administration right now is in a lot of trouble, okay, because the election is coming and there's a lot of things that are not in their favor, not to mention the normal change when everything is going okay.
But now, I will say one thing.
Yeah.
I will say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who traveled a lot in Eastern Europe, Even when the Berlin Wall was up, before, after. I will tell you, I've been in all of these satellite countries, all the Baltic states, in Ukraine, in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, all of them. I've been in all of them. The people there have a major hatred for the Russians. And that doesn't start today. That goes back to Stalin. They hate Russia. And that's the bottom line. And that's not changing.
Okay. And I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Okay. And now this is the big thing. Real personal income declines for the 8th time in 9 months. Now you can say that you're making more money, but you're really not making more money because your cost of living is going up at a much faster pace than the amount of money that you're making.
That's right. You're making fake personal income.
Okay. Exactly. This is like monopoly money. Okay. And again, it's not going to change with what's going on because again, it's amazing. Everything ties back to our moronic energy policy. Okay. I mean, because that would solve almost every problem that we have.
That's right. And if you match your swollen bank balance, most people's swollen bank balance in their bank account today, to how much of a home they can buy, they will find out that they lost a fortune.
I just lost a fortune and paid up, so I know all about it. Okay.
Oh, you paid up?
I paid up and I haven't passed the limit, but I mean, I passed the offer, but for me to pay the offer, it takes an act of Congress. Okay. 6 houses I had to make full limit offers and I got 1. I finally got the last one, maybe. I know the inspector is there for 4 hours today. Anyways, Senator Josh Hawley proposes Congress reopen U.S. energy production on full throttle. Any chance this gets to the floor?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that AOC and the squad and the John Kerrys, they will lay down like the Ukrainians in front of a tank in front of allowing that to happen.
Well, will John Kerry get off of his private jet to do that?
No, there was a UN report that said, we're going to all die from climate change in the next God knows how many years.
I have to bring something up about climate change. And again, do I know this to be fact? I do not. Okay. But I happened to sit down the other day with a biochemist, okay, who went through all this stuff. The guy walked up to me, he said, I recognize you from the Barney show. I go, okay. He said, so we started talking and he started talking about climate change. I didn't prompt him. I'm very quiet when I go out. I don't want to be bothered. And B, obviously I don't want to get involved in opinions. I've got mine and it's fine. But in the meantime, okay, he said that this climate change is a bunch of bull. And he said, about every 80,000 years, we go through an ice age. Again, do I know that? I have no clue. But he gave me a site, and I forgot what it was, but I'm going to get it, and I'll share it with everybody. That shows exactly what he's talking about. We heat up, we go into an ice age, we heat up. And again, I don't know that he's right or wrong. I'm just saying. And so I said to him, I said, if that's correct, okay, why don't more of you step up and talk about it? He said, I would love to. I said, but what about the rest of you? Okay, there's more. You're not the only biochemist in the world that believes it, are you? Okay, because to me, I don't believe in it. It's as much of a thing as myself. However, I don't know. Again, remember, I will always tell you, I don't know the right answer. Okay, I just know what my opinion of the right answer is, and my opinion is it's a more of a hoax than it is real. Okay, because since Andy and I were born, the population has doubled. Okay, which means more stuff, more technology, more cows, more fuel, more everything.
You know what, Bubba?
Yeah,
it's almost tripled.
Okay, there you go.
Because I was born in 59, the population was 2.9 billion. Today, it's just a hair under 7.9 billion.
I call it climate shift. Again, based on what this guy told me. And he's retired. He must have been, he must have been close to 80s. Okay. He went through this whole detailed thing. I listened to every word of it without knowing. Again, I don't know. I don't have the answers, but certainly it is something to think about. Okay?
But the media blasts out, the bartender from Queens's opinion and Bernie's opinion, existential threat. And it gets everyone all upset, and it led to this disaster.
Well, here's another guy I have a lot of respect for, who put it in the private area. He is right. Okay, there you go. There's 2. Okay, and I agree. Okay, people that want to debate climate change are prohibited from speaking out. They cannot get an audience without getting stuffed by a climate evangelist. Okay, again,
that's true. That's very true.
The two guys that I can see here, I know, and the two guys I see here, I have a ton of respect for both of their opinions when it comes to this kind of stuff. Okay, and so again, so here's 3 people out of 3. Okay, and again, am I right? Is it right? I don't know, but again, I'm telling you that from the people that I believe in, and they're not biased in any way. They want the same as we all do. They want their children and grandchildren to live a good life. Okay. Corals dying and ocean acidifying. I've seen it in well, heck, I actually know a little about this. This is a little off topic, but for those of you who know Tom, his wife is a marine biologist. Okay. George Costanza, but she's a real one. Okay. Did you know that there's a shortage of salmon? Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that.
Okay. And that's why they have to step up the farming of salmon, because when they're so dumb, the fish, that they swim right into the nets, and they get when you put a net in the water, you catch 1,000 of them. And we have an extreme shortage of salmon. Okay. But anyways, that's a story for another day. In the meantime, the words of wisdom from our friend Connie, and I hope you're feeling better, by the way, my dear. I haven't talked to you recently, but I hope you're doing better. I know you're walking a little bit more. I know you got some good reports last Monday. I hope they continue. Consistency and steady effort make up the path to our best work. And again, that's kind of what we preach every week, Andy and I.
Yeah.
Okay. It's being consistent. It's following the guidelines. It's following the rules. It's making sure that when you get more turbulent times, you become more conservative, because the markets command that until you get to be more aggressive, you must be more conservative. Okay. As always, spot on, my dear. And her new category, the State of the Union, the face you make when Russia invades the country that launches your money. Oh boy,
it is funny how this has gone right back to Ukraine.
Where is President Trump now when they're talking about Ukraine and Hunter Biden and all that stuff? Where is he now? I mean, honestly, is it not something interesting? Okay, and we do know some of the ties, okay, between all this as well. Interesting, right? So in the meantime, and of course, I've been bitching forever, but I got one more, okay? And I got many, and I had a different one, but I am sick and tired of hearing about rigged markets, okay? I don't give a shit what you say or how you want to say it. You're wrong, okay? They can manipulate, they can try to push, but at the end of the day, it still takes a buyer and a seller to move a market. So if somebody wants to manipulate and push the market or rig the market in one direction or the other, they've got to have a willing participant on the other side that's going to facilitate their trade to make those prices happen. They don't make the prices up out of thin air, okay? They have to be traded on both sides. So at some point, the price discovery model has to take place. What do you say?
I mean, I always get all the markets are rigged, just like we talked about in the pregame about cocoa and how the producers tend to push.
But it still takes two sides to make the market.
It takes two sides, right? So they can do things short term, but who cares? The bottom line is, who cares? I don't care if they're rigged or they're not rigged. They move, the prices move, and the price action.
But rigged is not the correct.
You know what? Listen,
what I'm saying is rigged is not the correct word, and it takes two sides to make a market, no matter what.
But I have a lot of experience, as do you, dealing with the gold guns and tuna fish crowd, and this usually comes from that gold and silver crowd who assume that.
Well, actually, this came from a different crowd today, okay, which set me off, okay, you know, because again, at least if you're going to be involved in markets, understand that it still takes two sides to make a market, no matter what they're trying to do. They have to find a willing participant on the other side.
That's right.
Or price would not hold.
That's right. But having said that, having said that, do governments manipulate prices? Of course.
100%.
Do I think that last week on February 24th, and I mentioned this to Bubba because we met that night, do I think that after Biden talked about the first round of sanctions, that the Treasury went in and bought stocks? I definitely do. I definitely
agree with you.
Is that rigging the market? No. They're a participant. They participated. That's it. I don't ever blame. By the way, people who blame, say rigged markets, say that, what they're doing is telling you they're wrong. They got it wrong, because they wouldn't be complaining if the market went in their direction.
Right. It's like
They're
the
just
high
looking to
frequency,
blame someone for getting the market wrong.
it's like the high frequency guys that, the TV pundits who always blame big sell-offs on high frequency traders. But I guess, as we know, high frequency traders only sell, they don't buy.
I always have the same answer for these people. Blame yourself. Obviously, you lost money.
Right. Exactly. So again, I'm so tired of hearing it. And this guy just set me off today. But anyways, as we move on, okay, into the wonderful world of stocks. And of course, we've got to look at the indexes. And of course, our benchmark for the markets is that for the Dow is the YM, the Dow Future Yankee Michael. Again, you have a little bit of a bounce. We're short. And I said to you last week that the move was way too steep. And certainly if you throw in Thursday, look at how steep that down move was. You're going to get a natural pop off of that regardless. Okay. So let's not kid ourselves that the trend is dramatically changed. The trend is down. Can it go back up? Of course it can, and it probably will. Okay. But at the end of the day, okay, right now we're in a downtrend and still at a little bit of a steep pace. Okay? So in either these markets, I mean, they could crumble, but at some point you're going to get these rip your face off rallies, okay, that are based on short covering. And at some point, it would not surprise me at all if we found a temporary low at, let's say, 33,000, okay, and a temporary high at around 34,000, which are the levels I'm going to give you, Connie, because if we consolidate here for long enough, the downtrend will catch up, okay? Again, I never believe that a market is going straight up or straight down, okay? And I do believe when they do happen, you're going to see the opposite reaction. What is it? What is that? Fusion? What's that? The opposite and equal reaction? What do they call that? So, I mean, again,
that's physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
So I would expect this to be probably
One of Newton's laws.
I got part education. Okay. So in the meantime, 33,000, 34,000, it's in a downtrend. And certainly it could rally a little bit more before it would violate the overall downtrend. Okay. And of course, the S&P, Echo Sierra. Okay, where are we at? Oh, gee, it looks almost the same. Now, this is a little bit closer and has come a little bit closer to getting back to, but really it's been kind of churning a little bit longer in consolidation. But again, you got the same rip your face off rally that was based on short covering. You had, many will call capitulation on Thursday morning. Okay, so what is the natural reaction after capitulation?
A rebound.
Yeah. I mean,
always.
Nobody should be shocked or surprised that happens. It happens all the time. This is not news. It's something that you would expect. Now, I'm not telling you to jump in and buy down there, but knowing that the rip your face off rally could come at any moment. And believe me, when they come, the reason they're so powerful and so fast is because somebody realizes that they've sold it into the hole, and they realize that they're not going any lower, and they start to cover.
And when you look at these on the charts, just notice the volume spikes on these types of days, and that tells you the whole story. A lot of wood changes hands,
and they're like rats crawling over each other to get out, okay?
And then to get back in, and
they'll pay any price to get out, and that's what creates that big rally, which is why bear market rallies are the most vicious, which for our hedging works out pretty good, because we get on Thursday, I rolled up and down. Okay. And on Friday, I got to roll up and down. So I accumulated more stock, and here we are sitting in the same spot. So pretty good idea, pretty good deal. In the meantime, 4,250 to 4,400, and the Nasdaq, what a mess this is. But again, very similar pattern. It has smoothed out from that overly done straight down, the tech wreck, right? And now we've kind of smoothed. We've got new resistance about 1420. Okay, excuse me, 14,420. My bad. Okay, and supports at about 14,000. Okay, so let's see how it trades from here. Okay, but again, we're short, and to me, the trend is certainly lower, and the trend has come back, and certainly, I would suspect that the trend is lower, which I believe it is. Any day now, we're going to see a 500 point down that it's going to hold. They're not going to come up with this dead cat bounce. But remember, you got this after selling from 15,000 and change down to 13,000. That pop was almost predictable, but we don't predict, but that's certainly not any real major surprise. Okay. Anyways, 14,000, 14 to 14.4. And of course, the Russell, again, look at what Russell said. Gee, it's back to where it was earlier this year, stuck in nowhere land. It's just stuck in nowhere land at a lower level. Okay.
This thing does trade sideways for long periods. So, this is a chop market.
Chop is right. It's very fast and big. And, even though it's only an 1,800 point index, or whatever it is, those ticks are big, or $5 and they move 500-600 points in a day. It's $3,000. Okay. In the meantime, for my money, 1,900 to 2,080. Okay. So we'll see what happens. And again, that's all we can do is watch. And of course, the VIX, which Andy mentioned earlier, yeah, it's up higher, but look, again, it was 38 last Thursday. Okay. Now it's 34. Okay. It closed at 30. Look, it's higher. It's been reaching its way higher. Did we not say a couple of weeks ago, it's probably a good idea to take a shot in the VXX? And I believe that we did. Okay. So again, I'm not surprised. You're not surprised, are you?
No, I think it's still in buy the dip mode.
Yep. And one more interesting factoid for all of you option traders out there. Okay. Somebody called me last week, all in a bunch of heat of panic and crying, not crying, but whining and saying, well, I had so many puts, I didn't make any money last week. I said, well, what'd you pay for them? And I said, what was the implied volatility when you bought them? And I said, well, that's why you didn't make any money, because you overpaid for them. Okay. You paid more than the expectation of movement. So what do you think is going to happen? Okay. This is not a new age story. Okay. I mean, take a look at the RSX, okay, which is just the Russian ETF. Okay. RSX is trading at about a 400%, okay, or 200% volatility on its options, $10. Okay. And the implied move is 30% for the rest of this week. Okay. 31%, 45% for next week. Those moves are not common. Okay. If you're buying options at 282% volatility, you have no chance to make money. Okay. So again, remember that the core value is what can it really do, not what the street is panicking and expecting it to do. Okay. So in the meantime, Apple, and we are short all the indexes. Okay. Alpha, Papa, Lima, and Apple, we are still short. Okay, hold on one second here. Yep. Okay. And Apple, we are still short. And again, 165, 166 is what we said last week. And here we are. So this big dip, okay, which, was obviously just like the rest of the markets. Okay. Now, as far as a company, it's still the greatest company in the world, is it not?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, but can it go lower? Sure, it can go lower. Listen, it was down at 100 at one point this year. I think it was under 100, but it was down at somewhere, recently, in the 70s. So, can it go lower? Of course it can. Okay. This move is no different than any other move in any of the other markets. Okay. This is a big bellwether. I mean, this is almost like a utility. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, it's so big now that it's, it's a very big company. It's the biggest company in the world. It's a great company. They make a lot of money, but it's got a beta. And when the stock market goes down, this company's going to go down.
I mean, right now it looks like about 160 support with 152 behind it. And right now it looks like we're right at resistance. Now we'll see what it does from here, because this will be very big as to where it's going to go from here. But right now, as it sits today, 160 to 166. Okay. Alpha Golf, AG. Now, again, we carry this in our portfolios, and we carry it for one reason. So for when we are long, which we are long it right now, and notice it got up to almost 1240 on Thursday before falling apart. But overall, again, very little violation to a natural trend. Okay. And if we're right on silver, okay, then this should go significantly higher. And of course, the multiplier, as it continues to go up, becomes much bigger. And as President Biden said, the oil companies were overcharging. Okay. And now the reason we have inflation is because of greedy corporations. Now, again, is that not one of the most ridiculous statements you've ever heard in your life? Okay. when the multipliers go up and the price goes up, it multiplies faster. I mean, it's just simple math. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. It goes up faster. So in the meantime, we're long, and I think $11 to almost 13 now. And again, if we're correct on silver and we do get a big breakout, which we could, okay, this thing will fly. Okay, so in the meantime, for today, 11 to 13, AMD Alpha Michael Delta. Okay, now this has been a little bit of after being a terrific performer for us, it's been a little bit of a thorn in our whats. We came down and we're short, and it looked like it was going to be the end. But now, if you look at the overall channel, which I drew in long before today, we are at the upper end of this channel. Okay, so in my eyes, I would tell you that 125 should be the upper end of it. Okay, you've got probably 110 at the bottom end right now, but you probably have some support at about 116. Okay, now again, it doesn't mean that this is gonna go up. What is your take on the chips, sir?
The palladium was reacting to Russia, and I think it's eased. I really do. By the way, supply chain bottlenecks, freight rates are going up now because of the geopolitical threat, but I think it's eased a little bit, and I think it'll continue to ease as long as this war doesn't spread.
Okay.
That's my kind of take on it. But
okay.
By the way, when's the last time you heard anything about COVID?
Well, COVID was magically cured 8 months before the election.
Russia cured COVID.
They magically no longer, they no longer have COVID, right? It's gone because we don't need masks anymore except for on the airplanes. And I think those are March 18th, I think, is the next ruling or whatever that they're going to decide what to do there.
March 18th? Good. That's the damn.
That's what I heard. And again, I'm only speaking rumors. I don't know for facts. Okay. Bravo Alpha, which we
looks terrible.
Yeah, and we're still short. And of course, it's a good spot to be. Now, remember 110 was what we were watching as a level of potential support, and now it's under 100. So we'll use 100 to 110. Okay, and you had a nice little spike off of the earnings, but it really wasn't a spike. It got crippled and it just bounced back. Okay. Because here's the day before. So it actually was lower, even though it looks like it was an update. Okay. And this is actually, this was a selling opportunity. And I'm not saying you should have made it, but if you were happen to trade BABA, that was a great potential blow off selling opportunity on a daily basis. In the meantime, we're stuck 100 to 110, but this could go significant. It's already gone significantly down.
Look at the Russian stock market. Chinese stocks, Russian stocks, very similar.
This was 320. Okay, now it's 100. Okay, so whatever. Bido, Bravo, India, Tango, Oscar. This continues to churn. It's one that I will always clarify. We have not traded it yet officially because I'm really want to see if there's reaction. And the unfortunate part of that is these ETFs that are futures based, the ones that fail, which are most, have trouble or do not account for the formation of either backwardation or contango, and the investor gets screwed. Okay. And they don't really there isn't really a lot of months yet in the Bitcoin world yet that we can really get involved in. So it's really hard to read. So, and my other point here is that, look, if you want to buy Bitcoin, this is a way you can try to buy it without having to go through the wallet. Okay. But I can also tell you that, sometime in the second quarter, Tradier will have crypto on their platform. Okay. So they're going to start to clear cryptos as well. Okay. And it'll be as part of your account. So at the end of the day, again, if you want to be involved without having to go into those wallet space, and you've heard the nightmares of the guy lost his password and blah, 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 blah. This is another way to do it. But so this is a way, if you want to play this space, this is a way to play it through one of these ETFs, which is Bido. For today, 22 to 28 would be, again, big range. But again, I suspect, Bitcoin was up 2,200 points or 2,300 in the futures market, but after the market, it was up over 4,000. Okay. So certainly this will fly and it will be extremely volatile, along with BitQ, which is not quite as much, but similar. And they look pretty similar. I mean, this stock was up in the 30s and it's now at 15 or 16. And we said, look, if you want to buy it, we don't carry this in any portfolio, but if you want to buy it, okay, $15 seems like a pretty good number. And you're taking a gamble, you're taking your risk. That's the only reason we carry some of these stocks on this list, is because there are certain products that people want to trade, but they're afraid to because of, again, you've heard the horror stories of the crypto world. Well, these are at least products that you don't have to worry about your password, and they're in your brokerage account and you can use them. So again, these are ways to play the cryptocurrency space if you choose to do so. Okay, that's all. I mean, again, 50, I would still be a buyer at 15. I own it, but I'd still be a buyer at 15. And I'm really not a seller at any price, but I would suspect 18 will be the next resistance. Okay. Chewy, Charlie Hotel Whiskey Yankee, which unfortunately we're short. And of course, it's had a nice little pop right off the bottom, which not a shock. We identified that 37.50 as a potential support level. Okay. And we popped up to 42.50. We thought 45 would be resistance. And today, it shot through it like a hot knife through butter. Okay. I mean, I have to assume, okay, that this will probably reverse tonight. Okay. So it's hard for me to talk about it from the short side, but at the moment we're shorted. Okay. And at the moment, 50 looks like it's going to be the resistance level, if not 48 first. Okay. So Connie, for you, 45 to 50. Okay. But again, right now, we are short, but again, I won't know until tonight if we're going to stay short. Okay. So coin, Charlie, Oscar, India, November. Okay. And we do trade this and we are shorted. Okay. And again, it's obviously been a pretty good short. And really what we're seeing here, Andy, was some consolidation. Mm-hmm. And, certainly the upper end is about 205. And right here is about the midpoint, kind of like gold at 1900. This is like 190 and coin. Look, Andy and I both like this as a long-term hold. Okay. I have it hedged. Okay. I think that there's a real potential in this space, and especially if you get a rally in Bitcoin, because this is the bookmaker of Bitcoin. They benefit. Obviously, there's more players when the markets are going up. Okay. So certainly, but for now, we're short, and it's 160 to 200 would be the levels I'd be watching, or 160 to 190. Okay. Curl F, which again, they fooled me again, but we don't cover anymore anyways, but I just show it to you real quick. They got me again with some phony moves that looked like something was happening. And of course, it turned out to be nothing. But DraftKings, which we do cover, Delta Kilo November Golf, which we are still short. And we did get a little bit of a bounce as we thought we might. Okay. And I've actually done some investigation, and I think there is a real chance to support Andy's theory, which was it's a prime takeover candidate. Okay.
$9 billion market cap.
I mean, it's also prime because there's some big things going on in Las Vegas. Okay. Las Vegas is well behind the gambling times of the world. Okay. If you have a DraftKings app or any of those apps that are outside of Las Vegas, they got a million different bets you can make. I mean, from things you can't do in Las Vegas. Okay. And at the end of the day, okay, I think that Vegas has to go that route, because if not, they're giving up a lot of their business to outside. And you've seen Wynn come out and is now in a number of states. Caesars is in a number of states. So I think what you're going to see is some of these players like a DraftKings, maybe a Penn, okay, that have already built and gone through all the acquisition costs to get these people. Okay. They may be very good takeover candidates, which would still make these trades profitable. But I think our original theory of it being a 10 bagger is maybe not in the cards anymore. And one of the problems in this industry of casinos or in gambling is that they can't come up with a magic product that's going to make them rich, because they only work on 5% to begin with. That's the perfect book, 5%. So in the meantime, we're still short. And I would tell you that this is 20 to 25. Okay. Facebook, Foxtrot, Bravo. Well, again, obviously we're still short. I mean, it got down to 190 and now we're popping back up here. To me, 215 is resistance. And certainly there's no reason to believe that this is something suddenly going to change here. Okay. The metaverse, nothing looks very good here. And I think there's a lot of trouble in social media land. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this thing with Russia and everything is exacerbating that. They use social media, but they also don't want the freedom of social media. So it's going to be a rough go. I think Twitter has been under pressure too. Meta, listen, and no one likes Zuckerberg. That's a problem.
Right.
Company. That stock will rally like nobody's business if he stepped down and put another CEO in there.
Right. And anyways, 190 to 215, we're still short. First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra, Lima, Romeo, which we're also short. And again, they have earnings, I guess, tomorrow. Is that right? March 1st. That's tomorrow. So we'll see. This could be some anticipation. Now, again, for my money, okay, if this thing gaps higher tomorrow, I'm already short, but I would add to my position on a spike higher. Okay, because again, they've already anticipated a hell of a move from the bottom. Okay, so I would actually be looking to sell. I'm just curious what
I will say this. I was looking at some solar stocks today, and I'm saying this. I'm saying, look, energy prices are going to continue to go up, and they might even go up a lot further. And that might cause some people to switch to solar and put a little bit more juice into that sector for the coming months. So
okay, again,
possible.
Anything is possible. In the meantime, the implied move here in the next week is about 9%. Okay, so another 9% higher is what they're predicting. Okay, which puts us over 80. It puts it over 80 or under 70. Okay, I would say that based on what I just saw here, this rally from 60, there's a greater chance based on the trend that it tests a low versus going higher, but it could go either way. Okay. In the meantime, earnings, so I'm going to just call it neutral for now. We are short though, just to be obviously full disclosure. GDX, Golf Delta Vic X-ray. Well, what did we say last week? The move up was too fast. It's probably going to consolidate somewhere between 34 and 35. Oh, and here we are between 34 and 35. Okay. Yes, you had a spike up to 36 on Thursday and it came right down with the rest. To me, again, this is another way to play gold. And it's a way that if gold really starts to take off, then this will start to accelerate as well. In the meantime, okay, we do carry it in our platforms. We are long, okay, in our portfolios. And for me, 34, I think it gets through 35. It's going to take out that high it made on Thursday as well if it gets through 35. Okay.
Yep.
Goldman Sachs, Gulf Sierra. Okay. And of course, Goldman, we're short and nicely down today. And that obviously has a lot to do with the pressure on bonds, lower interest rates. Okay. It's got a lot to do with a lot of things, but banks are very interest rate sensitive anyways. And they looked at that as losing profits. So in the meantime, 330 looks like this ultimate support. And right now, I think 350 looks like pretty solid resistance. And again, we are short. Okay. IWM, India Whiskey Michael. Okay. Which we're long actually. And of course, this came right up the bottom. And it's interesting for those of you who wonder, why are we short the Russell, the future, but long the ETF? Because their formations are still a little bit different. And the way they trade is still a little bit different, although they look very similar. But again, if you continue, you might see a change in the Russell. But in the meantime, we are long this. And again, it looks to me that probably 196 is still the support level. Okay. And it looks like 208 should be some resistance. Okay. But this has been very, very choppy, very stubborn, and very much just in consolidation for almost a year. Okay. Other than a couple of moves back and forth. Okay. So 196 to 208. Okay. Mara, Michael Alpha, Romeo Alpha. Okay. Which we do carry in one of the portfolios and we are short. Okay. And you're seeing basically the same thing. Nothing has really changed all that much. 20 seems to be pretty solid support. 30 looks to be pretty solid resistance. Now, again, of course, this was as high as 80 or 90. If Bitcoin takes off, then this is going to take off with it. But if it does, we're going to be participating anyways. Okay. That's what you want to remember, is that we will participate if the rally is big enough. If it isn't one of these, staying in consolidation, which has been more characteristic of recent vintage than anything else. Okay. 20 to 30. Neo, November, India, Oscar, which we remain short as well. Oh, well, got to bounce. Well, gee, shocking that it's come down from 44 and it's down to 22. So it's been halved. Okay. And I could make the case, okay, I'm already short, but I could make the case that this would be a great spot to sell it on a potential blow off to the upside, heavy volume, big price spike, especially from the bottom. Okay. But I mean, listen, I'm not going to sell anymore. When they get down to these 20 levels, I'm not really all that much of a player. But certainly, if you were, this would be a good spot, in my opinion. Okay. To me, this looks like it's 18 to 24. Nugget, November Uniform Golf Tango. Gee, shocking that it held right inside our targets, which is obviously, this is GDX on double steroids. I guess this is GDX on more than Barry Bonds took, supposedly. Yes. So in the meantime, this is really just stuck. It's, it's 54 to 60. Okay. And we're long. Okay. NVIDIA, November Victor Delta Alpha, which we are still short. Okay. Look, again, you're coming off some big bottoms. Okay. And a lot of these rallies came from what? They came out of fear. They came from a fear bottom. Earnings 3-1. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So Connie, put neutral on NEO. They have earnings tomorrow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay. So in the meantime, NVIDIA, look, this looks to be some resistance right here, about 245. Okay. 270 would be next. Look, we're in a downtrend that is now consolidating at the lower end. I mean, certainly this could end up being the bottom, okay, or it could end up being just a pause before it continues to go lower.
Yeah, great chip company, but they make great product, but the trend's lower. But I think we'll wind up eventually being along this
of course,
at a very nice level. At
100%.
Yeah,
I bought it at $15 on a Monday night call.
Because actually, this stock, when it moves, it moves.
Indeed, it does.
Yeah.
Penn National, Penn the casino, another casino, really just stuck in consolidation, 45 to 52. Okay, look, again, this is the same problem as DraftKings. Okay, their acquisition cost is so expensive. I mean, this like was $150 about a year ago. Okay, and you can see that it's obviously got halved and thirded. Look, at the end of the day, again, I think this is another one that's in play because I do think that they've done the work to build these. Okay. And just to make my case a little bit further about DraftKings, which would tie to the Penn also, but DraftKings, Johnny Avello, who ran the sportsbook at the Wynn for all those years, runs DraftKings. So that's a pretty natural fit. Okay. So again, I'm not saying that's a possibility. Okay. But if they're not a possibility, then these will probably continue to go lower and we're still short. Okay. The Qs, Quebec, which we're short. Again, look, you got to pop. Look at this is almost every chart you look at has the same characteristic. Big sell up Thursday, big bounce back. So where do we stop? Well, to me, and for my money, this is probably 350 if it gets that high. Okay. And you've got support at 335 and then ultimately below it at the low that was made. This low is going to be tested. Go ahead, Andy.
It's an interesting comment that you make. Almost every trait looks the same. What we have to realize is during big macro periods, macro events, a lot of stocks lose their identity. The fundamentals don't matter as much. So that's why a lot of the charts look very similar.
Right. So, again, you remember when you see a blow off or a capitulation, price and time becomes irregardless to the people that are trading. They don't care anymore. They want in or they want out.
Right.
They have no idea. They don't care about price.
Right.
Riot. Again, this is like, I don't even know how to describe it. Torture. But again, it's another potential play on Bitcoin. This is a miner of crypto. Okay. Now, for some reason, we couldn't remember which is which, but we believe that one of us probably has more taxes due because of where they're at. Okay, one is in Nevada. I don't know which one is which, but at the end of the day, Riot was much higher than Mara, and they've reversed. Okay, so in the meantime, it's no different. It's 15 to 20. Okay. Roku, Romeo, Oscar, Kilo uniform, which we're still short. And look what happened on earnings. It got down to right about 100, which I said. Now, nice little bounce off of 100. Okay. Now we're going to see what happens here. Probably at about 145 is kind of like a decision spot here. But again, if it got through 100, which I believe it probably will, okay, it's going down faster. Okay. It's just, again, that 100 held first time down. We'll see what happens. We've now come up and filled this little gap left on earnings. Let's see where it goes from here. We're still short. Okay. Square Dance, which unfortunately we're still short this one as well, which has had a very dramatic rally. And I will tell you, in my opinion, we will not be short this tomorrow. Okay. Which doesn't thrill me based on the rally we've been watching. But again, this is right up against the top. It's had a hell of a move. Earnings. And of course, this is very common in markets. They oversold it into earnings. They were already overselling it, right? They're already pressuring the stock. They buried it right before earnings. So what is the natural logical reaction if they've already priced in bad news? I don't even know what the earnings were, but I assume they either were good or were not as bad as the street was pricing in. Okay. So again, I'm gonna call this neutral for now. The levels would be like 100 to 130. My guess is it probably changes, but again, I don't have that information yet, so I can't really give that to you as much as I would like to. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee, again, look, we're short the SPY, and it's again same as the S&P. I would say 440 is the resistance level, 424 support. There's going to be some support around 430, 425, 428, somewhere around there. But ultimately, 410 is going to come into play. It may not be this move down, but 410 is coming into play. You can bet. Okay. You just can't trade off of it yet.
Hey, Bubba, isn't it funny how Facebook and Square changed their names to Meta and Block, and both stocks disintegrated?
And it is amazing. It is.
I think it's funny, huh?
It is truly amazing. Okay. And you are correct, sir. That is, but it is truly an amazing thing that what we're watching. And
don't make anyone think twice about changing the name of their company.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the meantime, okay, Tilray, which again we don't trade this. Again, they fooled me too. Just again, I got excited. I thought that maybe we're seeing some information, but I was wrong again. Okay. It's like they're setting a trap for everybody so that they can put them out of business, I guess. I don't know. This goes back to our original theory, which is nobody's going nowhere until Altria and Constellation and whoever is ready. Okay. And I guess RJ Reynolds, right? And probably British Tobacco out. In the meantime, TQQQ, which we don't carry anymore, but again, it's just one you can watch. It's the Qs on steroids. And look, it's at some resistance. It would be short if it was into play, but it's not. Tesla, which I don't trade anymore, but I do watch it for every week. Look what happened. Came all the way down, and here we are right back in the middle of the range, 800 to 940. Okay. And look, to me, this would be a short. Okay. But I'm tired of fighting it. And, again, before I was using anything on it, it looks pretty bad. It looks like it wants to go lower. But in the meantime, obviously, this is a crazy animal as well. And
Musk did something this weekend with his satellites in Ukraine, and that could have caused some buying in the stock.
Okay. Again,
he helped them out. He helped them out big time.
I mean, I think his satellite's pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's pretty good.
I mean, he's an amazing guy.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, 800 and 960. The VIXI Victor X-ray, which we are long. And again, look at this. It held beautifully up at some support around 23 and change. It got up to obviously 28, but here today got to about 25 and pulled back. Not a surprise. It's consolidating. And again, why is it consolidating? Well, because it looks like it's trying to build a better uptrend. And certainly consolidation here would not be any surprise before it makes the next big pop. And certainly it would be no surprise to you either. I don't think that $28 prints here.
No.
Okay.
No.
And
not at all.
And when Whiskey Yankee November, okay, which we are so long. Look, it's in the middle of nowhere. It refuses. It tried to go up. It tried to come back down. In the meantime, it's stuck between, let's say 81 and 92 or 93, 94. Again, it's just, look at it. Look at it in general. It's just kind of hovering. Okay, it did come under some pressure. But again, if you just go back here and say, okay, what does it look like? Well, it looks pretty good. Okay. And of course, they've got that new app, which is, again, those are big stories for especially a brick and mortar casino as well. Okay. And now a lot of them are turning themselves into REITs. So this ought to be interesting to see how this plays out. XBI, extra, oh, I didn't give you levels, Kenny. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm going to say 84 to 90. 84 to 90. Obviously, 82 is in play, as is 92. But for today, 84 to 90. Okay. And XBI, well, again, it's going down. It tried to go lower. It's in consolidation. It's in a downtrend. And again, the downtrend is being relieved by a market consolidating. I would suspect that this has not much more room to go to the upside, maybe 92, 93. Okay. And it looks to me that this 80 is going to come into play again. In the meantime, 84 to 93. And Zoom, which we no longer cover, but had a little bit of a pop today. But again, look at where it's coming from. Remember, it was at 500. It's down, it got down to 110. Okay. Now it's at 130. But this is really nothing more than a solid resistance level at 135. Okay. So we'll see what happens. I'll get there. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Now, Albemarle, you know that I've watched that stock. I never knew what they did, but I watched them for, I don't know how many years, forever. I haven't looked at it recently. Look at this. Geez, I think it was 20 some dollars when I first looked at it. I mean, this looks pretty bad. Whatever you, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it had a big, if you look at it for a little longer, I know you're looking at the short term, but it had a hell of a move.
Yes, I remember. Again, I watched it way back in here.
Huge move up. It's correcting. I mean, and the trend right now is lower, but the demand for lithium is rising, and the price of lithium.
Listen, there's a couple of guys out there on this call that have done very well in the lithium space. Again, it's a big spot. Okay, and we'll see. In the meantime, for this chart does not look very good. I would not want to be a buyer here. I'd rather buy this at 200 than buy it at 190 and hope that it goes higher. Okay, because certainly it could go a lot lower, and it could go a lot higher. But wouldn't you rather buy it when you're more confident that it's not stuck at resistance in a downtrend? Okay. UPST, Uniform Papa Sierra Tango, Uniform Papa Sierra Tango. I mean, this looks pretty crappy. Again, it's very similar to other things, hovering and consolidation down at the bottom end. Okay, could it be go break? You're sure it could. But if I was looking at this right now, and if I traded this, which I don't, I've never traded it. If I traded it, okay, I'd be looking for a potential sell here for a trade, not for long term, not for forever, just because of the action I'm watching. This is like a pretty solid blow off over the last 3 days from 100 to 160, 60% move in 3 days. I'll sell that. Okay. And again, I don't trade it, and I don't even know what the options are. Okay, I'm gonna look though. I'm gonna let you know what they are because I'm gonna take a peek. And they're untradeable, so it doesn't matter. I can't trade even if I wanted to. I can't trade 111% volatility. Okay, it's just not smart unless I want to really commit. And if I want to really commit, I'll be committed to an institution instead. Okay. Anything else? FedEx. That's FDX, not FEDX. Foxtrot Delta X-ray. I mean, it looks like crap too. Okay, but why? Of course it's gonna look like crap. Listen, they can't get help. They can't deliver anymore. Okay, the supply chain's busted. I mean, they've got every problem known to mankind right now. Okay, thank you, President Biden, for your service. Okay, but that you can put that squarely on the administration. BSX. Oh, Jesus Christ, I own that.
Listen tomorrow night. You'll find out how wonderful everything is going.
Yeah. BSX. Boston, this was $6 not that long ago. Boston Scientific. I mean, listen, it's a solid company. They look great. They're up against some resistance, but certainly after bottoming at $38, it's been a nice steady uptrend. And again, it was $6 not that long ago. Okay, so I mean that looks pretty good. Okay, and TSM, Tango Sierra Michael. That don't look so good. Okay. Tango. Oh, this we looked at the last week, I think.
Yeah, Taiwan, look, Taiwan is in the bullseye there. You gotta be
Not
careful.
so good.
Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
It don't look so good.
If you want to play semiconductors, you're better off with the US manufacturers. I know they're the biggest in the world, but there's geopolitical risk in this.
Now, just full disclosure, okay. If I were going to play this, but I'm not, okay, I would look to potentially be a buyer for a trade. Okay. But again, this as far as a hold right now, not for my money. Even if you gave it to me, I wouldn't be a hold for my money. Pets, Papa Echo Tango Sierra.
That's smart.
Papa Echo Tango Sierra. I mean, it looks okay. I mean, it's down, right? It's come way down. I mean, this is kind of right now, I would call this decision point. Okay. Looks pretty good coming up into the resistance, but the overall thing looks down. So we'll see. Again, I don't trade it. I'm not really all that familiar with it. So, but it's not something that I'd have to rush into today in my eyes. Okay. It is a beautiful head and shoulder breakdown, TSM. Again, head and shoulders takes too damn long for me to look at it, but I'll pop it back up there real quick. In the meantime, again, this looks okay. I mean, again, I'm not jumping into anything right now like that at the moment. I'm not looking for anything questionable. I mean, does this have head and shoulders? I mean, you can make the case if you want. But again, I ask you this question with the head and shoulders. Okay. Do you want to wait 6 months to put a trade on a stock that may or may not be a good pattern? Okay. When there's probably 500 trades between then and now that could have made you a lot more money than waiting for a pattern that takes 6 months to develop or a year. I mean, that's my question. Okay. This would be, for those who don't know, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. It broke below the neckline. Okay. Which is bearish. Okay. So again, if I don't care about those patterns. To me, it's like the company handle. They take too long to develop. I can spot them when they're here, but I probably traded that security. If I trade it, probably 500 times already waiting for it. Okay. GS and NVIDIA ex-dividend calls. When is the ex-dividend? And when is the dividend? Okay. You got to give me those facts before I can give you any answer. Okay. I need to know when is it and how much is it? Okay. Goldman Sachs, I know it's big. So, probably you'll get a note from the software and I will send you a note if it's big enough. Give me the dates. I don't have tomorrow. But if it's tomorrow, you're stuck. Okay. You got nothing to do for tomorrow. Okay. Because tomorrow it's over. It comes out in the morning. Okay. So if your short calls tomorrow and they're in the money, are they in the money? Okay. Then you're going to be, you may get a sign. Okay. If you're not in the money, again, I don't know. Okay. Softwares I know today. Okay. Well, what did you do with it? Okay. CCP worse master than Putin. Yeah. Goldman Sachs. All right. So that's tomorrow. So there is nothing you can do about it. What are your short calls? Okay. I can tell you if that's going to be an issue or not right now. If you tell me what they are, I don't have it off the top of my head. Okay. But based on, let's see, they rolled on Friday. Okay. So hold on. I can probably figure it out. Goldman Sachs. Okay. They rolled on Friday. And so you sold probably up here. Okay. Or somewhere in here. Okay. So I would say you have no worry. Okay. They were in the money when today. I find it hard to believe considering where we closed today that they were in the money. I mean, you couldn't have sold them lower than 342s or 340s. Okay. So again, I think you have nothing to worry about. That's my opinion. I don't know. Okay. To me, you could not have, if the software did it, okay, which would have been Friday. Okay. Let's see here. I could give you a guess. Maybe you get the 340, 350. Okay. Again, I don't know. I would, if I got a sign there, I'd be thrilled to pay the dividend. How's that? I have no issue with that. If that's the case, there's so much room and it doesn't mean anything except that you got a chance to make more profit. Okay. Okay. In the meantime, look, Exxon, last one, Exxon Mobil, X-ray Oscar November. No, X-ray Oscar Michael, excuse. I mean, it looks pretty good, but again, give me an oil stock that doesn't look good.
Okay. Russian exposure there. Be careful.
Give me one or else like that doesn't look too good right now, right? I mean,
I prefer Chevron to ExxonMobil here.
what about Russian stocks? Well, if you want to gamble, they're probably a good buy. RSX is probably a good buy if you want to gamble. Okay, $10.
It's a hell of a gamble.
I said it right before I said anything else. I mean, this is like buying Chinese stocks. People wanted to buy Chinese stocks. Okay. And I kept saying, look, okay, but it doesn't mean they're going higher. Okay. Listen, is there a value? Yeah. If you have if you're Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger and you got billions of dollars, you're willing to sit with it and hold it. Okay. Okay. I mean, obviously Charlie Munger owns BABA a lot higher than it is now. Okay. So that's up to you.
Yeah. Nationalization is a big risk here.
Right. So in the meantime, look, bottom line, okay, you need to be, that's a different message. That's true. Okay. You need to be careful. You need to watch. You need to follow the rules of the portfolio models. You need to, if you're actively trading, you need to make sure you know your exit is, and you do not get stubborn with your exit and turn that trade into an investment, because I will guarantee if you do, you'll get it stuck where the sun don't shine. In the meantime, be careful. Have a great week, everybody. It should be a wild one, but remember that what we've been watching, although been wild, has been on extremely light volume, which suggests to me, and I could be wrong, but it suggests to me that the rallies have been more retail based, which means that the pros and the funds are waiting to whack them. Okay. And again, I could be wrong, but that's how I interpret the recent action. We'll see what it does from here. In the meantime, have a great week, Andy. Thank you. And I'll talk to you. And to all of you, have a great week and just be careful out there. Okay.